Millennialism basically is equivalent to saying the kingdom is now. The two go hand in hand. In respect to that kingdom is now idea, I would like to use an example. You think about King David. Now, King David was anointed king long before he actually was enthroned,
Mm,
long before
mm,
he had any kingdom to reign over.
mm-hmm.
He was riding around on his horse with a bunch of followers, and they were doing what they could righteously for people around the country and so forth. They were living righteous lives and all that. But they all understood, the followers understood very clearly that the man they were following, though he was anointed king, he had no kingdom to rule over at the time. As long as Saul was on the throne, until God took him off the throne,
Yeah.
David did not reign. And the same is true with Jesus.
Yes.
As he said in the parable in Luke chapter 19, where he says, no, the kingdom's not right away. It's like a guy going away, goes to receive a kingdom, and then comes back. That's exactly what's going on here.
Yes.
It's like Daniel chapter 7 also. So Jesus goes to the throne to get a kingdom and
Mm,
then return with it. It doesn't mean he goes to get the kingdom, immediately has it, immediately implements it. No, the time, according to Luke 19, there's a time period where until he returns to implement, it's not there.
yes.
The other thing is this apparently, it seems like this desire or this effort to spiritualize the kingdom of God and talk about it in terms of being now, to spiritualize the resurrection, has been going on since Paul's day.
Yes.
Because you look at 1 Corinthians chapter 15, you see Paul just talking about pleading with the people. Wait a
Yes.
minute now. You're saying there's no resurrection. Now, I don't know what this exactly means, but all I know is he's going through all these things to convince them, no, there is a literal resurrection. And when he concludes it all, he says, brothers, flesh and blood cannot enter the kingdom of God. You have to be changed from mortal to immortal
Mm,
for the kingdom of God to be established. So let's
mm-hmm.
stop. So I think he's sort of like saying in different ways throughout the chapter, stop spiritualizing the
Mm,
kingdom of God.
mm,
Same thing was true in his letter to Timothy in 2 Timothy 2:18, where he said there was a couple of guys in the congregation
mm.
that were leading people astray
Yes.
and damaging their faith because they were claiming the resurrection had already took place. I don't know whether these guys were. I think they were. It probably was akin to this idea that Anthony you said, where well, there's a spiritual resurrection.
Mm,
People die and they go off to
mm,
another
mm,
dimension. They go
mm,
off to heaven or somewhere.
mm.
So that's probably it. But nonetheless, the idea is that there is a spiritualizing of the resurrection and the kingdom going on,
Yes.
whatever the conclusion is. And we have a new one now,
Yes.
apparently, where
Yes.
even those people who believe that the dead sleep have their own version of
Yes.
spiritualizing that same resurrection and kingdom
Mm-hmm.
idea. And that's something that the Apostle Paul railed against, I think.